Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're really excited about it. Excited to have the support, the involvement. Yeah, very excited about it. So it's really, as I said, it's really nice to see a lot of familiar faces. It's been a long time since I've seen some of y'all. So my name is Daniel Martinez. I'm at Santa Ana College. I've been here for about 18 months now. I'm the Associate Dean of Research, Institutional Effectiveness, and Planning. So why don't we introduce ourselves? I don't like the term popcorn because it sounds too cute for researchers, but y'all know what that means, right? You introduce yourself, then you call somebody else and you say, hey, introduce yourself. So Katie.
Hi, everyone. Katie Wilson. I'm a faculty researcher at Cosumnes River College. And Jaime, I'll pass it to you.
All right. Morning, everyone. Jaime Rodriguez, Senior Research Analyst at Mount SAC. Pleasure to be here with you all, and we'll pass it over to David.
Hello, everybody. David Boitron, Research Analyst at Riverside Community College District. Now pass it over to Wendy McEwen.
Wendy McEwen, I'm the Dean of Institutional Research at Institutional Effectiveness at RCC. Caitlin.
Good morning. I'm Caitlin Busso. I am a researcher at Norco College. And who has not gone? I'll pass it to Mark.
Good morning, everyone. Mark Raviel, Research and Planning Analyst at the San Diego Community College District. Very excited about this group and having a lot of basic questions, and I will pass it to Dr. John Barton.
Hi, I'm John. I'm a research analyst at Mount SAC. Let's see, I'll pass it to Brian Stern.
Good morning. I'm Brian Stern. I'm with Mark. So, and I'll pass it to Tracy.
Morning, y'all. My name is Tracy. I'm a researcher at Monterey Peninsula College, and I will pass it to Terrence.
Hi, all. Terrence Willett, Dean of Research Planning and Institutional Effectiveness at the college that eventually won't be called Cabrillo. Nice to see everybody. Let me pass it to my colleague, Janine.
Hi, everyone. Janine Rapel. I'm Research Analyst at the college that may stay Cabrillo forever. Happy to be here.
And then? All right, so how about Jay?
Hi, I'm Jay Cull. I work at Sacramento City College. I'm the database programmer in the research office, and I make all the Power BI. So how about my buddy, Steven?
Hi, I'm Steve McDowell. I'm an analyst and researcher at Los Rios Community College District. And who hasn't gone yet? Sorry. How about Aaron?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Aaron Volker, Dean of Institutional Effectiveness, Library and Learning Support Services at Santiago Canyon College. And I'll pass it over to Heide.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Heide Kave, Research Analyst at Santiago Canyon College. I pass it to Paula.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Paula Kincaid, and I work with Dr. Martinez. He is my boss. I work at as a research analyst for Santa Ana College. And I will pass it over to Yuri.
Good morning, everyone. Yuri Bencourt from Santa Ana College. Happy to be here, and I'm a temporary research analyst until further notice. And Gilberto, you're up next.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Gilberto Cardenas. I'm an interim research analyst at Santa Ana College. I pass it on to Joshua.
Hi, I'm Joshua Salas. I'm a research analyst at El Camino College in Library and Learning Resources, and pass it over to Dulce.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dulce Cardenas. I'm a research analyst at El Camino College in Library and Learning Resources, and pass it over to Dulce.
All right,
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dulce Dubu. I'm a researcher over at Riverside Community College District. And I'm not sure who else has gone.
Go next. Hi, my name is Kyung Ha Oh. You can call me Kyung. I'm an associate researcher at Monroe Peninsula College. Nice to meet you all. And Crystal, I don't know if she's on it.
I can go next.
Yeah.
My name is Na Liu. I'm a senior research and planning analyst at Chabot College. Nice to meet you here.
What else we got? Crystal, you there? Yeah, how about Christine?
Hi, I'm Christine. I'm the senior research analyst at Whittier College.
Oh, great. Kathy?
Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm a research analyst at Los Angeles Valley College.
Nice. Steve McDowell, did we?
I think I already went.
Oh, sorry. About that, let me see. Kylie?
Oh, I haven't gone yet. Anthony Delgado from Citrus College.
Which college, I'm sorry?
Citrus?
Kylie?
Yeah, hi, I'm Kylie Thomas. I'm a research analyst at Los Angeles City College.
Elke. I hope I'm saying that correct.
You are saying it correctly. Hi, my name is Elke. I'm a researcher at CSAC.
Oh, nice. Very cool. George?
Hi, everyone. I'm George Diaz, and I'm a research analyst at Compton College.
Thank you. Max?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Max Watkins. I'm ID database administrator. I work with Stephen McDowell and Jay at Los Rios.
Great. Stephen, have you gone?
Yep, I have.
Sorry, Stephen Wynn, sorry.
Hi, my name is Stephen. I am the interim dean of student success and institutional effectiveness over at Woodland Community College.
Very nice. I think the last one, and I hope I say it correctly, Josue, is that correct?
That is correct. Good job. Hi, my name is Josue, and I'm from East Los Angeles College.
All right. Well, thank you all for doing that. Thank you all for being there. We're very excited about it. Shout out to Tracy. I did that shout out already, but I'm sure she heard it because I think she asked a question that started this ball rolling and reinvigorated the listserv. So thank you for asking the question. I think the first thing we're going to do is, after the introductions, was to do an overview of this group. Why are we here? Why we want to get together? So is it Katie or Jaime?
Both of us. We're going to tag team.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks, Daniel, for that. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Look forward to this session. So I'll go ahead and go first. And so really what I'm going to do is I just want to give a brief history about the listserv itself. Katie is going to go ahead and talk about kind of how this group came together for this endeavor of having quarterly sessions, these quarterly Power BI sessions. But in terms of some historical context, this listserv started in actually fall 2018. And really the intent with the listserv was to go ahead and develop a listserv where we can share resources, we can collaborate together in collaborative learning, and really just share expertise with one another. So that gains some momentum. I do recall in 2019, especially, there was some sessions that we offered that Katie and I worked on together. But the truth of the matter is then COVID hit, and ever since COVID, things have there really hasn't been much action on the listserv itself. And so one of the things that we're trying to do, to Daniel's point, and actually I'll give him a shout out. He's the one that reached out and started asking like, hey, what's going on with the listserv, and what can we do to reinvigorate it and to have more people participating. Long story short, that's what got us to this place here. But I'll go ahead and let Katie share a little bit more about, again, how the four of us came together, and then moving forward, what our goals and what we intend to do. So with that said, I'll pass it over to Katie.
Yeah, thanks, Jaime, and thanks to everyone who has been involved in the Power BI listserv for the past few years since it began, and welcome to all the new faces who are just getting started with that listserv. As kind of the reinvigoration of the listserv, we got together as a group and there was some interest in there being more sessions like we used to offer. And so we've kind of formed this committee of 4 with David, Daniel, Jaime, and myself. But we are always open to new members. So if you're ever interested in joining us or have an idea, please share that. And so we kind of have 2 resources now. One is the listserv, and then Microsoft also offers, if anyone signed up through the webinar links on their Fabric community, that's the place where we'll be placing, it's just a website where we'll be placing resources, and we'll be kind of advertising these events, though we'll always still use the listserv to do so as well. And our hope is to start off this year with a quarterly convening. So we'll do 4 sessions, and we're definitely hoping to crowdsource expertise, as we've always done for those sessions. So we look forward to collaborating with all of you in the future on that. But today, Daniel is kicking us off with our first convening.
Great, thank you. The next thing on our agenda, and we haven't had a chance to introduce him, Eric Cooper from the State Chancellor's Office. Thank you for joining us, Eric.
Happy to be here. Good to see a lot of folks, so good to see the waves. Sadly, I'm no longer really a day-to-day Power BI user. I've had to switch over to Tableau, but I still hold Power BI as a fond place in my heart. Did want to give just kind of a quick update, sort of dashboard related. You'll be seeing some more official announcements really, really shortly, but we are moving on into a next generation of student success dashboards. We don't have a catchy name for them yet, or any of that stuff, but we are looking at, well, I should say we have started the process of replacing the Launchboard dashboards. So those will be up for about another 6 to 9 months, and then we'll be getting out some new tools. Since it's this group, mostly researchers, what I'll say is we're going to try to keep the definitions for things as much as possible the same, right? So if you're used to using it, if you're used to taking the data sets down and putting them into Power BI or your other favorite visualization tool, should mostly be able to do that. We are needing to change a couple of things though, either to align to Vision 2030 or to better address the governor's roadmap. So, one of the things that we're exploring right now for dual enrollment students, right now we don't have good mechanisms to sort of cohort dually enrolled students. We're trying to work that through right now. And that'll be sort of an interesting thing. We're welcome to hear some feedback and critique on that once we mess it up the first time. So we appreciate that. But that's a big thing from the Chancellor's Office. Again, you'll be seeing some official announcements really, really, really shortly, and probably Monday, if I'm being honest, maybe early next week. We've wanted to make this announcement for a little while, but have been holding off for a variety of reasons. When we're finally in that place where we can start to say, yes, out with the old, in with the new. We're also changing our philosophy about dashboards just a little bit. So if you are somebody who's been into Launchboard and used that quite a lot, you'll know, hey, student success metrics, there's a lot there, but it's relatively small compared to, say, community college pipeline dashboard. So we're trying to move away from that philosophy of one dashboard to rule them all. So we're going to hopefully make them a little bit more targeted to specific use cases and specific audiences. So we're still going to have strong workforce. That's still going to be a dashboard, but trying to reorganize that a little bit more so it's a little bit more user friendly. What you'll be seeing from actually, like the RP board has already been hit up for this, but we're going to be sending out some invitations for other folks in the very near future. We're trying to do a new user-centered design process for the dashboard. So we're going to be trying to collect that feedback from sort of power users, working with some of the centers of excellence folks, working with folks already within the chancellor's office, and hoping to get, again, some more sort of power users in those dashboards, trying to collect that feedback to make sure as we are designing those to be the best possible data tool, that those are going to meet people's needs. So I think that's the big update that I want to give right now. But certainly glad to see this group is convening and getting some momentum and legs back under it, because we need this kind of collaboration.
Thank you, Eric. Are you open to questions if people have any?
Yeah, but I may deflect, tap dance, or dodge.
Well, it's the chancellor's office.
Yep.
There's a hand from Terrence.
Hi, thanks for being here, and thank you for the news. It's good to hear, and I assume there'll be all kinds of webinars and documentation. My question is actually about a venerable dashboard. Will the data mart continue to persist?
Please say yes.
That's a fantastic question, and our plan right now, Terrence, is for data mart to continue to persist. Even though it is old technology, there are things that data mart does really, really well that we just can't do with a data visualization tool, right? It's running on OLAP cubes. It does a really good job of aggregating data. Yes, it's only just counts, but we've got counts back 30 years now in some of those categories. And I challenge you to visualize 30 years of complex data in any of the tools we use, and they get really laggy really quick. So no, we are making some modifications to data mart that are worth mentioning. We were hoping to have them done by actually the end of the year. We've had to push some of that work out a little bit. But where possible, we're trying to add, make sure we've got more demographic characteristics available in those cubes. We're trying to be cognizant of sort of FERPA compliance. So we're not really aiming that way with anything that's sort of success related, since that could be interpreted as not being FERPA compliant. But the ones that are like just counts, we are trying to make sure we've at least got race and ethnicity, at least got gender, and maybe a couple of others that we're looking at. So that's one of the changes that we're trying to do to improve data mart. There are a couple things that we are in the process of taking off. I'll be honest, we're trying to remove things like the scorecard data, for example. Since we haven't had the scorecard since 2017, there are a lot of older sort of legacy things in there that we're trying to remove. Had kind of an internal fight about the basic skills cohort tracker. I was all for getting rid of it, and then we suddenly needed it for this thing called AB 1705, where suddenly it was relevant again. And so we're going to keep that one just a little bit longer, but we've been trying to be systematic about making some improvements to data mart, and but generally, yes, that's a very long yes. We're going to keep it around for a while longer.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Don.
Yeah. Any movement beyond just the iPads gender ethnicity categories? We now have a much longer list. Any chance to get the more specific categories in the dashboards?
Well, you had said gender ethnicity, so I want to be clear.
I don't mean gender. I mean race ethnicity.
Oh, we're looking into that. So tune in to the RP group, the peer-to-peer next month in February. We're going to be having Rajun Young, who's an analyst with the Chancellor's Office. She's going to be sort of presenting some of the work that we've been doing on sort of super disaggregation using the super expanded race and ethnicity categories that we have now. It creates some challenges, and we'll talk about that. So one of the things that we're exploring is maybe we don't add sort of the full breadth of that to Data Mart, but we make it available in a report once a year, something along those lines. So we're still kind of thinking that through, but yes, we are trying to use that sort of super expanded list for race and ethnicity. We certainly have a lot of interest in tribal affiliation as well within California. I know our Native American student support program's been trying to use that data. We've had some additional interest for our Asian and Pacific Islanders, but it creates sort of like these new challenges of like, we need to create new categories of like, if I've got somebody who identifies both as Chinese and Hmong, normally we just say that they're Asian, but now do I need to say that they're like multi-Asian, right? Which is not a category that we've ever, really considered. And does it make sense from an analytical perspective? So a lot of things we'll run through. So again, tune in, peer-to-peer, the one in February.
Yeah, I think one of the things we've had is we lose too many of the other categories into either two or more or the Hispanic category.
Yeah, and the Hispanic Latino category, I mean, if we're following that IPEDS methodology, right, it creates a challenge for us. And I don't know, that's one we haven't really addressed fully yet with the Chancellor's Office, because we do have to do so much federal reporting. Internally, I would encourage you, of course, disaggregate that where you can. We found some really interesting things at Sierra College where we had, kind of success lined up in much the same way we see for other racial or ethnic groups, right? Where it's like, okay, if you were Hispanic Latino and Black, you tended to be towards the bottom of that course success or outcome, and kind of going on up. So there's definitely reasons to disaggregate that and really talk about that internally. How do we get services to folks, who are not really in a monolithic group, even though they're being pushed into that monolithic group for discussion? So let me say, I hear you. We haven't quite got that far yet up at the Chancellor's Office. Ada.
Hi, Eric. Nice to see you here. There was a discussion come up at our office regarding dual enrollment. Do you know the Chancellor Office count the non-credit student who are getting their high school diploma if they take credit courses consider as a dual enrollment or not?
I need to look at that a little bit more closely. Because if we look at it in terms of like special admits, our GED students will be in special admit. Normally when we, like Research Office or MIS, look at dual enrollment, we're narrowing that down not for special admit, but for the students who have the education code of, was it 10,000 in MIS? And we're using that as our flag for dual enrollment. So if it was a non-credit student who was reported under that flag, yes, we probably would count them as dual enrollment. But we'd need to look and see exactly how it was being reported in MIS. And I'd probably want to do a little more follow-up for some of the bigger metrics.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I started to say, but I was muted. The discussion on ethnicity will probably be a future workshop with this group because it's come up before. How to disaggregate it, how to show it, how to report it. So I think maybe at the next in our next quarterly meeting, which would be April. Yeah, April. Maybe we could talk about that in April. So maybe we can ask you to come back and give some time. I'll send you an email, Eric, and see if we can set that up.
Yeah, be happy to. I'd also recommend, she's not here today, but Jessica LaCourset from Sierra. I know, again, for the Sierra team, she was doing a lot of work in that space and how she was using sort of heat maps to try to represent some of the multiple ethnicities and like how that played in. And I think she'd be a valuable contributor to the conversation.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Can you, would you mind putting her name in the chat so we have spelling and that kind of thing? Thank you. Okay, great. We had a couple of people join us. Tim, do you want to quickly tell us where you're from? Oh, okay, Jessica. Oh, thank you. That's the chat. So I see Belinda. You want to tell us where you're from, Belinda? Or not? Thank you. Irvine Valley, nice. Alex? Don't want to put you on the spot, or unless they're all in the thing. Okay. Sorry about that, Linda. And Alex is at Chabot. Great. Great. Thank you all. Thank you very much. The next thing on our agenda is we call this showcase, and don't want to give that the wrong impression. It's not like, hey, this is fantastic. It's more of like, well, my personal desire to get this group together and have the listserv active is because DAX drives me crazy. It's a very, to me, it's a very humbling program, because every time I think I learned something, it reminds me that I don't know it. And so I just wanted to group source, as Katie said, conversations, solutions, whatever else we can think about. So because this was new, I mean, quite honestly, this has been a very, very busy time for our district. We're trying to shoehorn an educational master plan in 2 or 3 months, Aaron, something like that.
Something like that. It's very fast.
It's been very fast. And if you noted or not, I have 2 interim researchers because I had 2 transfer to other parts of the district in a relatively short time. So it's been a very challenging semester for me, but I wanted to get us together as a starting point, just so we can say, here we are. We have meetings set up now. We've got a nice representation from across the state. So this is great. And I really appreciate you all being there, by being here. So I volunteered to share some work that I've done. And I'll tell you what I think are some interesting things that come with it. Let's see. Can you see the screen? Got thumbs up, so that's great. Thank you. One of the things that I've done is to use MIS data to create dashboards, and I build it using using the referential files so that I can match what's at the data mart, and then break it down with information from the specific to our college, by division, by department, things like that. Excuse me. One of the reasons that I really, really like dashboards, why I think it's extremely useful, is because what's the word? I mean, it puts information into the hands of the users, the faculty or the staff, whoever's using it. But it's also a quality check. So we can have our information in our office. We have myself and 3 analysts. But if we can put that information out there for all the faculty to look at their areas to do things with, that's all the better. So one of the things we found with this, and by the way, if you have questions or comments, please just say your name or something, because I can't see everybody on the screen. Okay, that way we make sure that we catch your question. I won't go into the details of this, but by creating this dashboard and publishing it, people do what they do, faculty do what they do, and they go to their area to see what it looks like. In so doing, after a lot of time, we found some errors in our MIS reporting files, which took a very, very long time from my perspective. Maybe if I was brighter, if I had more program experience, but it took quite a bit of time to figure out, to identify where the issues were, and to try to come up with things. So that to me is why, one of the reasons why we want to make this information public and share it with folks. So I'm just sharing what we've done. As you can see, you can check it. This is annual. You can go down by division. You can look at individual demographic information here. It's a pretty standard one using bookmarks and such. You can look at things if you just want to look at fall to fall. As you can see, what happens with fall to fall, it just kind of evens things out.
Hey, Daniel, you have a question in the chat. Are you using cloud or report server?
Neither. I don't know what those are. So if somebody would like to ask that question or answer that question, that'd be great.
Jay, do you want to share more?
Well, you could tell he's using cloud because the URL is apps.powerbi. He would have his own college URL if he was using a local report server. So that vastly changes the amount of functionality and the things you can do using Power BI. So that's why I asked.
Changes it good or bad?
I would say good because the newer features come to the cloud first. And then once they've kind of debugged them, then they add them to report server like a year later-ish.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't know there was an option, quite honestly, but I published it to the service. Is that correct, Aaron? Is that the right word?
Yeah, the BI service. So when we make reports available either publicly or internally, we typically push them out to the service. And then if we want to make it public on, our website, then, we get the iframe code and embed the report. Otherwise, we share internally. The only problem with sharing internally, there's lots of benefits to that, but all your users need to have pro accounts in order to be able to use it appropriately, establish their own bookmarks and so forth.
SAC's approach has been to make it public. So you can go to our very poorly designed research webpage and see it if you like. We need to change it, we need to update it. So please don't laugh too hard when you see it. But it is available publicly. I got a hand raised. Yes, Mark.
Yeah, so Mark, asking, I was just curious when you went back and you were showing success and retention, I've been playing around with the idea of hierarchies because some of my users want that, and just seeing the different functionality. I see on the right, you have like fall and spring or fall only. There's a way to like nest it, but I'm having some kinks with it. It's not looking as smooth on the label. I'm just wondering if you've ever, because there's a way where you like push a button and then from those, so 2019-20, it would show each of the 3 terms if you're on a 3-term with spring, fall, and summer, or not. I'm just wondering because sometimes people, I'm not sure if you've explored that or if the choice has been, let's just do academic year or single terms. I'm just wondering if you've done anything. And my approach to have that functionality is through hierarchies, but maybe there's a better way. I'm just wondering with the buttons if it's more useful.
I don't do that. That's a good question. Anybody?
This is Wendy at RCC. I've used the drill down. And it works in some instances, and then I can't get it for a different set of metrics. I can't get it to work, and I'm not sure why. But yeah, we have the same discussions. But the drill down, like for us, from our instructional pathway to our degree programs, that drill down works great. So maybe try that. I don't know if you've tried it already.
Renan Young, Butte Community College. So you're just trying to make a hierarchy, right? Have you tried it in the data model view? Because there's like 3 or 4 different ways in order to make it.
Yeah, I don't want to derail the conversation, but just something that just wondering if other users have had things. So I'll follow up afterwards.
Try it in the model view, and that should be able to help you a little bit more.
And this is exactly what this is for, is to help us to get to talk to each other and to bring up these issues. So just because we're meeting quarterly, please you can bring that up on the listserv. Like recently, I shared some information. There was a question about ethnicity. I think Tracy asked that question, and there were a few responses, and I responded as well. So bring that up because I think we could all benefit from it. You noticing anything in the chat? Anybody? I wanted to show you a couple other things without I'm really taking too much of your time. One of the things that I like to share with our folks is when you're doing this kind of thing where you have, like ethnicity, for instance. And I'm sure other people know this, but many end users don't know this. Because it's a very busy graph, right? You see what's happening here. But if you wanted to compare groups, when you select a group, it highlights that group, right? So if I just picked Hispanic here, and then if you use your control key and click the next one, both the table changes to just keep that there, and also the graph kind of highlights those two groups. So I share that with my end users, and they seem to like it very much. And then the last thing I wanted to show you, and I have some ideas about how to do this better. I'm happy with it, but I want to be happier with it. And I think I know how to do it. I just haven't had a chance to do it. So using the same data for this, I put together the PPG -1 disproportionate impact that you can drill down to the course level by year. What I want to do is to put it in by year, so the years show up. Like I said, I have some ideas to do it using the all except function, but there may be other ways of doing it. And wherever that disproportionate impact is found, it highlights the cell and then provides the gap. So this shows it for all 5 years. But we could always pick a term down here and say fall 20. And then it'll respond appropriately. One of the things that we've recently been having a discussion about is how to account for, I don't know if that's the right word, but we have large academies at Santa Ana College. We have both the Criminal Justice Academy and a Fire Academy. And those academies are they're kind of homogenous compared to our student body as a whole. So they're mostly male, mostly white, and most of them are older. So we put in a flag to either look at just the academies or to not include the academies at all. So if we take the academies out, it has a different, it changes it, obviously. So, so if we look at just the academies, for instance, maybe do it. Yeah. Like we find no disproportionate impact in general for fall 2020. I could clear this and see if it's different. Whereas if we take the academies out of the picture, then we have that. So, and down here we have buttons for intersectionality. So anyways, I just wanted to share that. Happy to if you have any questions about it, let me know. Any questions before I unshare the screen? Comment, anything? Okay. Right. Whoa, that was a lot. Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, Daniel, I was just hoping it would be nice to see what that calculation looked like in Power BI to do PPG -1 or the one that you did for equity. Are you doing it in DAX or, that to me would be really informative because it's something that we want to operationalize so that for any dashboard, if we know the type of format, we just go and like cut and paste, boom, and does that calculation. I'm imagining that's what has happened.
Well, I'm happy to share my screen. I'm going to show you one of the things I thought that might come up. So this is the dashboard that's published and set. Now for me, and I say this, I've been doing this work for a long time, too long, whatever the point is.
Yeah.
But for me, it's really important to keep ourselves honest with what we do, because it's very easy. I think I have the page. It's very easy to, this is the actual dashboard itself, not the published one. I know for me, let me say that, for me, I know that I have, which page it is. Sorry that I should have been more prepared. But I do a validation table to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. There is probably an easier way. I can't find it. I apologize that I can't find it. I do a validation table to make sure that I'm keeping myself honest. Where is it? Nope. I'll find it and send it to you. But what I do is that I break down the calculation for each part of the PPG minus one calculation. So all the enrollments just for that group, success rate, and that kind of thing, then the square root, and then this times that. So I have a column so that I'm making sure that the calculations are doing what I want them to do. And that's the way that I do it to keep myself honest. And I think that's, I tell my staff to do that, because it's very, one of the things about any of these tools is it's very easy to create a visual without really knowing if it's doing exactly what you wanted it to do. It's very easy to do that. And until especially like if you're doing a calculation with percentages or something like that, it looks nice, it looks correct, but until you double check your numbers, will you have confidence that what you're doing is what you intended to do? So I'll find that page and I'll pass it on. I'll pass it on to the listserv.
How did you get that 107% success rate?
Say it again.
How did you get that 107% success rate?
Do I have
Maybe we need to go check the calculation.
Okay, I'll check it.
Yeah, I didn't see one of yours, but
oh,
yeah,
you did see one of mine?
I did not.
Oh,
it's just every now and then when I didn't get a calculation right, you get the no, that should be logically impossible in this setting kind of result.
You scared me, John. I thought I just put that out there and everybody said, "Oh, look, you jacked that up."
Yeah, no,
which wouldn't be the first time, but
yeah,
yeah,
that sounds like a good idea to have a table of the calculation steps just as a validation.
Just as a validation, right? Because quite honestly, that was the first time I used that the all accept thing, and I wasn't sure about it.
Yeah.
And by putting it into the table, I was able to verify that it was doing, in fact, what I wanted it to do. So I was very pleased with that. So that's my recommendation, just in general, professional refreshing. Next on our agenda was David was going to talk about. Remind me, David.
Was automation, SQL, that whole sort of part of the Power BI process that at least I found pretty helpful at RCCD. So are we ready to go? Okay. So let me go ahead and share my screen with everyone here. So when I first started at RCCD, I noticed that we didn't really have readily accessible data. So everything was very laborious in nature. And one of the things that I kind of helped put together were getting the data on SQL Server. So the first thing we did was to get all of our MIS referential files into SQL Server. So when we get new data, it can go in there, and then from there we can pull in the data into Power BI and create these reports. So for example, this one here, this is a CT Perkins dashboard that currently finalizing, and there's different ways to get the data. I think someone mentioned you can use the desktop, which I like to use a desktop. We also have the online. You can modify and do things there, and there's different ways to refresh data. So I think the main thing on my mind was how can I get this to refresh so that I don't have to go in there and do it myself. And I think one of the easiest ways that worked for me was to set up a data gateway, get the data to refresh, and so forth. Although now you can also do things like flows. You can even pull in data from like cloud sources. You can do Google Docs if there's like a data set there and you want it to pull into a dashboard. OneDrive as well. I have a few dashboards that pull data from there. And you can kind of pull them together into one source and also have that option in there. But I want to talk about what I've been using mostly here to help lift a lot of the heavy loads for anything dashboard related. That would be like SQL. So this one here, as an example, I can pull in a SQL script. So you would get the data. This is just like a step-by-step process, right? You click in the source. In this case, it'd be a server. This one is a MIS referential, so it'd be, I believe, like DW. Let me say DW01. And here in the option for the import option, you can select to type in a script. So if I pull up my SSMS here, second. So here you can create all the aggregations, you can get the data how you want it, and as soon as you're happy with how the data looks, you can just pull it in this format into a dashboard. So I just copy this, paste it here, and then I would load this in, and I click OK, and it's going to load in as this table here that we see right here. So all the data kind of just gets pulled in. It does a lot of the heavy lifting. That way I can just use Power BI for the high level aggregations and focus on the visuals. And the way you would get that to automate is you would go to your Power BI account. So in this case, this is an example of a report. You get the report and you also get the data set. What you have to do is you refresh the actual data set. If you click on the ellipses, you go to settings. This is going to pull up a few things here. One being is a gateway option. So in order to set up the refresh option this way, you set up the refresh, how many times you want it to update. It can be daily, it can be certain days out of the week. You can update it multiple times a day and so forth. And then you would apply this. And one of the requirements for this is you do have to set up a gateway, which is pretty straightforward to set up. You can go to Microsoft website and set one up for you. So it's just basically going to pull the data from your computer and update that while you're basically away. So I just let that do all the refreshing on its own. And I'm going to go over here to this one. So here's a dashboard that we just saw. It's called the Perkins. And this is actually pulling into it's called the dashboard app. So it just collects a lot of these dashboards and puts them all in one place. We do have the premium level Power BI account at our district. So that means that I can share everything here with everybody at RCCD that's an employee without them needing a pro license. So that's one of the benefits of the premium account. So basically all of these update on their own. They're all set to refresh. In this case, I do have a separation here of this is MIS data and there's also live data. So let's say I click on this one here. I think this really comes in handy for anything that's live data related. So if somebody is looking at FTS trends and enrollment and so forth, having a daily update as to which sections are currently being offered, what are the wait lists, fill rates, and so forth, can really come in handy for this this type of reporting. So you don't have to go in there and refresh it on your own. It just does it automatically, and the users know, when I log in at 8 a.m., all the data is refreshed for that day, and they can make their enrollment management decisions. I think this one also has a drill through, so you can also add things like drill throughs to help people kind of wrangle the data more. They can download this file, which is generating, and they can contact the faculty. They can see what time the course starts and work out things like that. So that's just how we're kind of using that at our district. And it's really been helpful having the data refresh option. And I wanted to kind of share that as one of the topics for our discussion today.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. Questions, comments?
I have a comment.
Mm-hmm.
So what's just because I don't know what anyone else's experiences with Power BI. Just a few quick notes. When you're loading the information in and you're doing it with the gateway, sometimes with that gateway it'll be green on the top on that first column there, and then the rest of it will be red. And sometimes that's just because you have to change, like when you're moving it not just to SQL but through an Excel file or an API, among other things. Sometimes it just requires a little bit of troubleshooting there. Okay, you see right there where it says personal, okay, right there where it says personal David and your name and everything else. Sometimes that'll be green and then everything else below it will be red because you have to change the pathway. The next thing is whenever you are setting up from moving from SQL into Power BI, and let's say that you are just getting your jump start, it's good to make as many of your conversions as possible in SQL before transporting it into Power BI. Does that make sense? Because it will help your report to run faster, and separating out your cells or separating out your data will allow you to do more greater manipulation. I forget. So yeah.
Yep, I totally agree. And I think it depends on the report itself. Sometimes you want granularity in the report. Sometimes you want it to be aggregated when you pull it into Power BI. But it's definitely helpful to be able to do a lot of the heavy lifting in SQL so that Power BI doesn't take a long time when you're refreshing the visuals, because let's say you have all these calculations that are slowing down the processing. Very true.
Exactly. If you do as much as that stuff, especially when it comes to dates, Power BI is so fickle with dates sometimes. Sometimes it'll throw it in there and it'll throw it out of order, or it'll throw it in some kind of like January, February, whatever else the case may be. So that's why I mentioned doing it like that, because you'll have less problems. Your reports will run faster, and then you can add a column, drop a column, make calculated groups, or make dynamic X and Y axes or something on those lines in order to put greater manipulation in the hands of the end user.
Thank you.
Mark has a question.
Yeah, David, I was just curious, to set up like the gateway, was this by yourself? Did you have IT engagement or involvement? How did you, for the personal gateway, how did that get set up?
So the gateway is something you can set up on your own, at least at our district. Every individual who has one can set it up on their own. You just have to follow this. There's a prompt, right? So if you go here, it says you don't have a gateway set up, click on this link to, get one set up, and it's pretty straightforward process. It could take a few times to actually get right. Depending on how tech savvy you are, it might require some IT involvement or not. But for the most part, I think most people can set one up on their own.
If they have David that they can Zoom with to do it. I'm old.
Any comments or questions for David? All right. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for sharing that information. Appreciate that. I hope that you've been able to, I'm going to share my screen again. On the Fabric community, Katie was good enough to set something up for us. And it has information here. It has, this is for today, but we can go back a step. How do you go back a step? Forgot. Where it has, so it has all the events here. So the events that are coming up. So the next event is in April. Some discussion can happen here. And we also want to populate some resources for this group. So David uploaded some Power BI videos. I know that I use SQL BI a lot, as well as the Microsoft community. But if you have other sites that you find to be useful, Katie, do you know if that's something that anybody can share, or do they have to send it to one of us?
You will need to share it with the four of us are editors of this platform. So if you go ahead, and I'll put everyone's contact information in the chat as well. On the homepage of the Fabric group, our contact information is also listed. So if you have anything you'd like to get shared, you can share it there. I'm assuming everyone is in the listserv since you found us today, but I'll also share the listserv instructions if you know anyone who's wanting to sign up.
So, and I encourage all of us to use the listserv for questions that come up. Like I said, there's so many things that I've been working on that I could sure use some other people thinking about it. Next meeting is in April on the 25th, as we mentioned. We're almost out of time. So any other comments, questions, anything?
Sorry, I have one more thing to say, if that's okay.
Sure.
Because we are in a process of getting into it, but when you are moving from your current report, or even if you're making a report right now, just as a general note, you can separate out your visual from your data sets. And if you separate those two out, you can have more control over your data set. And then make changes to multiple visuals simultaneously, adding column, and it just makes it easier for you to manipulate and to manage your reports.
We may need to tap you for some expertise there, because it sounds to me like you have quite a bit of experience. So maybe we could do something in the future for us. So that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, feel free.
Yeah. Anything else as we are about to check out? All right. Thank you all. Really appreciate that. Thank you for joining us today. Very grateful for you. Hope to see you on the listserv and see you in April. All right.